Hi everyone, welcome to week 7. I hope you had a great break week and actually took advantage of it and got some rest and some much needed family time and time with friends and just generally time away from studying. Let me adjust my screen here and I'll show you what's coming up this week. So week 7. There is some chapters to read here, chapters 20 and 21 in Jarvis. So you can start with that. And then there's some really good videos to watch here that are very important and will come in quite handy, especially in the next coming weeks as we make our own videos. So watch those and get an idea of how you should be going through the videos yourselves. And then the big thing this week is doing your own HEENT skills video. So let's click into that and look at the directions together. A moment as we go here. Okay, so we'll have basically 3 different videos that we need to make, and this video for this week will be 10 to 12 minutes long. You should be able to do this whole assessment in 10 to 12 minutes, and that's in one take. You can't be starting and stopping your video. So you'll have to practice this a few times to get it down. You're not going to be able to just read through it and then video yourself with your partner or your subject or your patient in one try. You're probably actually going to need to do this over a couple days, maybe even an hour or two practice, and then maybe an hour or two to get the actual video you want done correctly. So just plan ahead and allow for time. We don't want you to have to video yourself many times, but just know you're going to have to practice to get this down correctly. Another important thing is that you're not going to be able to use notes while you do your video. You're not going to have notes with you when you go in and do a visit with a patient when you're in clinicals. So you need to really have this down on your own, and so have it make sense in your own mind how you're going to go through this. You will lose points if we see that you are constantly looking up on the wall like you have notes up there, or if you have notes on your table or on your computer or whatever. So the first time we'll take a couple points off, but with each video that number is going to go up and up, and you can't have any notes at all during your final assessment. So it's better to just start learning how to do it right now without notes, so that when it comes to your final exam that you can do it without question or worry. So make sure that you go through and read everything that's required for this week, and then you are going to follow this rubric, and the link for it is right here. So let's click on that as well. You'll need to submit this rubric with your video. They both have to be submitted or you will not get credit for it. So if you go through the video and you're done and you watch it and you think, oh shoot, I forgot to do a part of the exam, you have the opportunity, excuse me flies, you have the opportunity to go in here and list what you missed and why. You need to put both of those things, and you also need to write what you would have done. So don't just say, oh, I missed checking the patient's thyroid. You need to say, I missed the thyroid because I was really getting flustered and trying to think of the next thing that was coming, or I was focused on the cranial nerves, or whatever. So write down, you have to write both of those things, and then you need to write what you would have assessed. So it's a good place to make up points. If you miss it, if you miss it in the video, but you include it here on the rubric, we'll give you half of your points back. Julie and I will give you credit for that. Do not grade yourself on the rubric. Don't put your points awarded. That's for us to put there. But you certainly fill in this student comment section, and then Julie and I fill in this faculty area when we watch your video. So before you video yourself, go through and read this and become familiar with every single point that we're looking at so that you can get the maximum number of points for each different section. So for example, in step 1, before, during, and after the procedure, follow standard procedures, including identifying the patient according to the agency policy, using standard precautions, hand hygiene. Some people would just have hand sanitizer in the corner, or they would verbalize, now I'm going to wash my hands before I touch the patient. Some students just verbalize, we're going to pretend we're in an exam room and the door is shut and the curtains are closed, and observe good body mechanics. So you can verbalize some of those things because we're aware that you're in your own home. You're not actually in a clinic setting. So you're going to introduce yourself and ask the reason for the patient visit. And then you're going to explain the exam and ensure the patient's comfortable. So like, okay, today we're going to do a breast exam, and do you have any questions? Are you comfortable? Is there anything I can do to make you more comfortable today? Something along those lines. And these are all things you're going to do normally when you're in a clinic. So those were easy points. That's 8 points for the first one, 2 points for just introducing yourself and stating the reason for the visit, and 2 points for explaining the exam and making sure that the patient is comfortable. So those are easy points. You've got that. Next is the head, face, and neck. So you're going to inspect and palpate the skull. That's 2 things. That's 2 points for each one of these things. So make sure that you're paying attention to that inspect and palpate. And the easiest thing to do is, as you're going through it, even though you wouldn't do this in a normal visit, you'd say, okay, I'm just going to palpate your skull, and it looks symmetrical, it feels symmetrical, I don't feel any lumps or bumps, there's no tender areas, etc. So just talk through your entire exam. That way we know what you're doing, and we can give you the maximum number of points possible. If you have any questions about that, each section on here that's graded has a page number associated with it in your Jarvis text. So just go back, look in your Jarvis text. Sometimes it's helpful to go through your Jarvis text and actually write out everything you're going to say, kind of like you have a script to go by, and just get that down in your head and practice. So you'll inspect and palpate the skull, you're going to inspect the face, inspect and palpate the neck, so symmetry, range of motion, all those things. 2 points for each there, so make sure you're hitting all those highlights. Perform at least one of the following. You do not need to do both of these, so the corneal light reflex or the diagnostic positions test. So the page numbers are located there, so just look those up, see what they entail, and just do one of them. That's totally fine. Inspect the extraocular structures, inspect the anterior eyeball and structures, etc., the ocular fundus. Now note here, if you do not have an ophthalmoscope, pretend with a pen or a spoon or something and describe what you're doing and looking for. So, example, if you don't have one, you can say, I'm going to use this pen as an ophthalmoscope. And you need to use it like it is one. So don't just say, I would look here and I would look here. You need to do the same maneuvers that you would do if you were actually holding an ophthalmoscope, or you will lose points for that. So you have to really pretend. You can't just say that's what it is. You have to actually use it like it is one. So, because we know you probably all don't have one at home. I don't have one at home. And same for the ear and the otoscope, same idea. Just use a spoon, or some people had toys from their kids, like a toy medical kit they can use, so that kind of thing. Do the whispered voice test. So I'm not going to go through all these, but you can read through. Every single thing you get points for is listed here, and the page number you can find it on. At the bottom here, you get easy extra points for being organized and having purposeful actions and completing it in 10 to 12 minutes. That's 6 points right there. So that's easy. And that you, other 6 points if you are engaged with the patient and using therapeutic communication, that's another easy 6 points. So just talking nicely. It's helpful. Go through this in order. It just helps with your flow. And this will really be the way you do physicals in the future. You'll just kind of go through the same rhythm. So that's how the this video will go. Some of the videos are a little bit different length, but go through the rubric so you know that. Let's see, what else can we discuss? So that's that for this week. That's the big assignment. Make sure you send in both the video and the rubric. One thing, let me just look here back at the... Oh, whoopsies, sorry about that. I wanted to see if it showed us how to do the actual upload of the video. I apologize here for 1 second. Take me back there. Technical difficulties. Okay, here's what I wanted. Yeah, it talks, all the directions are here, kind of just like what I said. Oh, the other big thing is you have to achieve at least 80% on the video to pass the course. So, and if we feel that you need to repeat it for whatever reason, that's at our discretion. So, go through that. You'll do just fine. It seems very daunting, but once you get into it, each video will seem to get a little easier as you get more comfortable with it. Make sure you have a good patient that's allows you to practice a couple times to make it a little bit easier. So I think that was it on this week's homework. I think those are all the things we talked about. For the adult health education, or the adult health history paper that we just did the end of week 5, a few things. Just make sure when you're doing a review of systems, you're just writing down what the patient is telling you that they are or are not doing. That's not an area to put any education points in or anything like that. You save that education and instructions for the end, like under plan. So that was a very common mistake. Otherwise, people did great on that. So good job. Keep up the good work. You're all doing a fantastic job. So for this week's devotion, I just wanted to read to you a devotion I read last year called God Is My Midwife. I thought that was appropriate, by Carly Wiggins. The Bible depicts God as a fatherly figure, steeped in compassion and power, and one who disciplines those he loves. Our Creator is a part of everything in the universe. Soon-to-be fathers have expectancy and determination to be the best they can be when they meet their bundle of joy. But nothing compares to a mother's love. She understands the pain of going through 9 months of pregnancy, morning sickness, sensitivity to smells, and a more holistic diet. A mother is with her baby every step of the way because she has to be, and God does the same. Since God created both male and female, I believe he empathizes with both, as the writer of Hebrews implies, and is everyone's midwife. God is love, so he is here to help us through every pain we go through. Everyone is about to experiencing some blessings God has promised to deliver on. They are about to give birth to their hopes and dreams. God wants to help us through the struggles we experience when we feel like giving up. Many of us might feel like this by the end of the week. Many women, while giving birth, say, I can't do this. But a loved one, or a doctor, or a midwife coaches them on and helps them continue to push. God does the same thing. We aren't alone. God holds our hands through every sharp pain. So I hope that gives you some encouragement and motivates you to just keep going. You can do it. Don't give up now. You're doing great. Please reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a fantastic week.